His name echoes through the ages, a conqueror, a visionary, a legend. Alexander the Great, a man who carved an empire from the ashes of kingdoms, who dared to dream of a world united under one crown. But who was the man behind the myth? This is the story of a boy who became a god, and a mortal who reshaped history. Born in 356 BC in Pella, the heart of Macedon, Alexander was no ordinary child. His father, King Philip II, was a brilliant warrior king forging a powerful nation through grit and genius. His mother, Olympias, whispered tales of divine lineage, claiming Alexander was descended from the mythical hero Achilles himself. From childhood, Alexander was molded for greatness. He was tutored by Aristotle, the greatest mind of the age, learning philosophy, science, and the art of leadership. But it was the battlefield that truly called to him. At just 12, he achieved the impossible, taming the wild stallion Bucephalus, a beast no man could master. This was no mere boy. This was a force of nature. By 16, Alexander was already commanding armies, crushing rebellions while his father was away on campaign. But destiny is rarely kind. When King Philip was assassinated in 336 BC, the 20-year-old Alexander inherited a throne and a world of enemies. Macedon's rivals saw a boy king weak and untested. They were dead wrong. Alexander moved like lightning, crushing rebellions across Greece and securing his throne with ruthless precision. The powerful city of Thebes dared to defy him. His response? He razed it to the ground, sparing only the poets' homes, a chilling warning to all: defy Alexander and you will face oblivion. With Greece under his heel, Alexander turned his eyes east, to Persia, the greatest empire the world had ever known. Its king, Darius III, commanded millions, while Alexander led a force of just 40,000 men. But numbers meant nothing to a man who believed he was destined to rule the world. The clash of civilizations began. At the Battle of Granicus in 334 BC, he smashed the Persian governors, diving headfirst into the fight, his golden armor gleaming. At Issus, he brilliantly outmaneuvered Darius himself, forcing the great king of Persia to flee in disgrace, leaving his own family behind. City after city fell: Tyre, Gaza, Egypt, each victory cementing his legend. In Egypt, the priests hailed him as a living god, a son of Zeus Ammon. It was here he founded Alexandria, a city that would bear his name for millennia. But Alexander's dream was bigger than just conquest. He wanted to unite East and West, Greek and Persian, into a new, blended world order. He adopted Persian customs, arranged mass marriages between his soldiers and local women, and dreamed of an empire bound by culture, not just by swords. Yet his ambition burned far brighter than his weary men could endure. At Gaugamela, in 331 BC, Alexander faced his greatest test. Darius had gathered an enormous army, estimated at over 100,000 soldiers, complete with war elephants and deadly scythed chariots. It was a force meant to swallow Alexander's army whole. Against these overwhelming odds, Alexander deployed a brilliant, unconventional strategy. With unyielding courage, he led his cavalry in a daring charge, straight for Darius's position at the center of the Persian line. Once again, the Persian king fled. The heart of the empire, Babylon, Susa, and the grand capital of Persepolis, fell to Alexander. He was now undisputed the master of Asia, but glory came at a terrible price. In a controversial act, he allowed Persepolis, the jewel of the Persian Empire, to be burned to the ground. His men, exhausted by years of endless campaigning, began to falter. They had marched thousands of miles from home. Still, Alexander pushed them onward into the unknown lands of India. There at the Battle of the Hydaspes in 326 BC, Alexander fought his bloodiest battle and won his final great victory against the formidable King Porus and his war elephants. But his army had reached its limit. Battered by monsoons and relentless warfare, his soldiers refused to march further east. For the first time in his life, the unconquerable Alexander the Great was forced to turn back. The return journey was brutal. Leading his army through the treacherous Gedrosian desert, thousands of his men perished under the scorching sun. Alexander marched on foot alongside them, sharing their thirst and their suffering, but the immense weight of his dream was crushing him. In 323 BC, back in the city of Babylon, a sudden fever struck the unconquered king. After a night of drinking with his generals, he fell gravely ill. For days he fought his final battle, not against an army, but against his own failing body. The man who had conquered the known world was gone. He was only 32 years old. Alexander's empire fractured almost immediately after his death, torn apart by his ambitious generals in a series of bloody civil wars. Yet his vision lived on. The Hellenistic age he ushered in spread Greek culture, language, and ideas across Asia, blending civilizations and creating a new, interconnected world. The cities bearing his name thrived, and his legend became the ultimate benchmark for ambition, inspiring conquerors for centuries, from Julius Caesar to Napoleon. Was he a hero or a tyrant, a visionary unifier or a destructive madman? The truth is, Alexander was all of these things, a complex, contradictory man who burned too brightly, too fast. He conquered the known world in just over a decade, but his greatest conquest was the imagination of generations to come. Even today, his name whispers of limitless ambition, unparalleled courage, and the unrelenting pursuit of the impossible. Alexander the Great, a mortal who dared to touch the divine and in doing so changed the world forever. Thanks so much for watching this epic story. If you enjoy diving into history's greatest figures, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a new video. We'll see you in the next one.